Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, be sure to click the like and subscribe button so you never miss a beat. Today we're going to talk about my first time experiencing or getting to be in the OR doing some nursing. So last night, actually, I was texted and told to come in later for my shift because they wanted me to do what's called intraop, continuous replacement therapy, renal replacement therapy for a patient that needed it, which is basically just continuous dialysis. So the patient was getting a liver transplant, but they also had a kidney injury, so they needed dialysis. And that had been determined by the transplanting surgeon and then the transplant nephrologist as well. So instead of having to come in at 7 p.m., I actually got there at 11:30 p.m. And that's how that got arranged. The surgery didn't start. It was supposed to start at 1, but then they pushed it back for some reason. So it really didn't start until 2. But I was there from 11:30 p.m. until about 7:15 in the morning. So I didn't have to stay later or anything, being that I got there later. But it was pretty interesting. So basically, some things to know for people that are going to be doing intraop, CRRT, or if you ever get texted and we're like, hey, we need you to come do this. I just wanted to come on here and share like my story and some things to expect. So I would say get there early. I was told that in OR time was midnight, but they told me not to get there until 11:30. But it was my first time doing it, so I actually got there around 11, just so I could get my bearings and kind of figure out everything that I needed. So I got there at 11. Got a report on the patient that was on a unit still, and then I called down to see which OR they would be in, and then we have something called a share drive, which has like all of our resources in it as far as what you need for this or how to do this. And so I printed off those forms and I printed off the checklist of everything that I would need. And so basically that consisted of me getting the machine, getting the filter for the machine, the saline to prime the filter, the effluent bags, all of the baths that I could possibly need depending on what the patient's labs were looking like during surgery, flushes, syringes, heparin, because I was going to have to hep lock the lumens when I got done. I kind of just went through, in my head, okay, what would I need from start to end for this procedure? And I basically just went and gathered all of those things. And I couldn't remember how to get down there, so the charge nurse had to show me how to get down there, or another nurse on the unit actually showed me how to get down there. And I got down there, I set up my machine. I got there before everyone else, one, because I didn't know that they had pushed the surgery back an hour, which was nice though, because I still got to be in there and like set up the machine on my own time. There was no one rushing me or watching me, so I had already felt nervous because it was my first time, so that was nice being able to just set it up with no one in the room. So basically I primed it in the OR and got it set up, and then I was just waiting for them to come in. And when they started, I had to wait for them to get the patient over and get everything hooked up and intubate the patient and all that stuff. So I was still kind of standing around for a good 20 minutes. But it was fine because I got to watch all those things I had never really seen done in the OR. They lined the patient down there, so it was interesting. And then I hooked up and they started the surgery. And then basically I just sat there for the whole surgery. I think it was about 6 hours maybe. Really closer to 4 or 5 hours. Sat down there, and basically I got to watch some of the surgery. I got to kind of shadow, but not really shadow, the CRNA. The OR nurse was in there, the anesthesia tech was in there, the anesthesiologist was in there. There was a lot of people in there, kind of in and out, just helping out, bringing things that were needed for the surgery or whatever. So that was interesting to kind of see all of that interdisciplinary collaboration going on. And then when the bags needed to be changed, I changed the bags. A couple of times the filter or the machine started alarming, but I think it was just positioning, they were turning the bed a lot side to side. So I didn't really have any major issues down there, which I was really happy about because I was already nervous. And I was like, oh my gosh, please don't let this thing poop out on me and I have to start all over in the middle of surgery and just the whole thing. It was cold down there, so I would say make sure you have layers on, or you bring a jacket or something. I was a little bit bored, so I kind of just watched the surgery. I mean, because you're just sitting there the whole time, because like really your part is to put the patient on the continuous dialysis, and then you don't have really much else to do. So I would say just kind of prepare for that. Like, you're going to be sitting for a while. So if you have compression socks, wear them during that. I would say eat before you go. Go ahead and have your caffeine in you before you go. Sometimes, like, if you have to use the bathroom or something, you could probably call up to your floor and have someone relieve you. But I only left one. I had to leave the room a couple of times anyway to dump the affluent bags. So when I had to leave, and I was only gone for like 3 minutes max, I just took that time to use the bathroom. So it worked out fine for me. Yeah, I mean, that's really all the tips that I could suggest for you. Things to remember. I would also say make sure that you know the patient's most recent set of labs before you go down there, because that's going to determine what bath you need. And a lot of the times, the transplant nephrologist will go ahead and put in the orders, like if the K is less than this or greater than this, use this bath. So I was able to look at that stuff beforehand, so I already knew, I had a good idea of what bags I was going to bring down there with me. But still, it was kind of like a toss, like they might change their mind. So I brought different bags just depending on if the patient's potassium went up or down during surgery. I brought whatever I would have needed, because I like to be prepared. And that's really all the tips that I have for the experience. I think it was fun. It was different. It was not something that I was used to. We do it a lot on my unit. Like, people will go down to the OR while patients are getting their transplant surgeries, just because we use that continuous dialysis machine all the time up there. So they usually pull us down there to, do the surgery. And then usually if patients are getting liver transplants, they come straight to us in the ICU anyway. So we're already going to be, still taking care of that patient after the surgery. So it's kind of like more seamless if we go down there and do the continuous dialysis, and then they come back up, we resume care of that patient, might resume dialysis. So it was just interesting to see all of the pieces coming together. And I think it was really fun. I don't think I could do it all the time though, just because I was like just kind of sitting there for hours and hours, and it was freezing. But it was a good experience, and I think it's something cool to be able to say that I've done. So I'm really thankful for that. If you have any questions, or if you've done intra-op continuous dialysis before, or if you work in the OR, please drop any comments that you have, any other tips that you might have. I'm looking forward to reading those. Thank you. Bye.